If I'm the one running these 50% or less effective meetings over and over, it's a recipe for people seeing me as a bad leader because I'm wasting their time. And people, they don't hate meetings. What they hate is wasting time. Right. And so as I build and scale my business, I'm going to need some meetings. They need to be run well, and they cannot waste people's time, and they've got to deliver the right decisions and get buy-in of the group. And that's what we do.
High level, how do we run a good meeting? I know that's way more in depth, but just in general, how do you run a good meeting?
I'll give you a couple fundamentals here. Metaphor we like to use for running a project, a workshop, a meeting. 3 parts: takeoff, flying, landing. Now, takeoff doesn't take a lot of time, right? You're in Cincinnati. I'm in Denver. Last time I was out at DIA, I timed it. From the time they hit the jets to wheels up, it was 42 seconds. If it doesn't go well, we're all dead, right? Most of the flight is getting to Cincinnati airspace. Second place I got to pay attention to is landing. But here's the simplest thing. We teach people, and your listeners, they could write it down. It's an acronym. It's called the POPRA model. P stands for the purpose. O stands for the objectives. Second P stands for the process. R stands for the roles. A stands for the agreements. Most meetings should never be allowed out of the hangar on the tarmac because whoever called it did not get clear why we're having the meeting and what are we trying to get done, which means they are guaranteed to waste people's time. So if someone can't answer why we're here and what we're trying to get done, you shouldn't be allowed to have a meeting because I can't design the flight plan if I don't know the destination. If I don't get clear, I'm going to Cincinnati, right? I'm going to end, down in Austin or somewhere, because the process now follows the clarity of the why and the what, the vision, the purpose, the mission, the what. And then I have the flight plan, which is the process. If I don't know what we're trying to get done, I can't make good decisions who should really be there and also who should not be there, because there's too many people in our meetings, and the roles I need them to play. One of the roles being who's the ultimate decision maker, right? Who is going to ultimately decide if we can't reach consensus once we've surfaced all the ideas. And then the last A is the agreements, which is how do we need to interact, right? Stay focused, have these honest conversations, push back on ideas, not necessarily people, the agreements. So that POPRA model, that's the start. Takeoff is everything. And most meetings should never be allowed to happen. So when we let them happen, they now need to be well run. So inside the meeting, the key to getting honest conversation is knowing how to hold space so people weigh in. And that's what we're teaching. The tools of asking before telling, knowing some simple thing. Now, I'm going to give your listeners one of the simplest tools. People don't do it. I don't know why, but we call it a simultaneous chat. We're all on these virtual meetings. We have the chat. And what happens is the same thing that happens in the room. The same people are always weighing in the chat. And they're often the senior people or the extroverts or the fiery red styles. What a simultaneous chat is slow things down. Pose the question you want the group to answer. Don't let them hit enter on the chat. Make them all prepare their answer in the chat and then say, all right, we're going to submit these ideas simultaneously so that they're not looking at what the hippo is going to say. They all of a sudden, we usually use hand raise reaction emoji to say you have to have something in here. We're not going to submit to everyone's hand raise. And then you say, all right, let's put a banner and stream it in. All of a sudden, you're hearing from the junior people. Maybe they're people of color. Who knows? Maybe they're introverts. Maybe they're speaking English as a second, third language, because it often can be that most junior person, right? Who might be an introvert, analyzing style, working English as a third language, who has exactly the expertise to help the hippo make the best decision, but we can't create space to weigh in. So that's the other thing that's key. And then the other place we got to pay attention to meetings on landing, right? We have all these plane crashes and landing because we don't leave time for it. People drop out of the meeting and we're not clear. What do we do? Just agree on what are we doing next? What's the action plan? Who's going to do what by when? So at the beginning, though, to your question, just make sure you're clear why, what, how, who, in what way you're going to run the meeting, and don't have meetings if you can't answer those 5 questions.
This guy's brilliant, y'all. I could sit here and talk to you for another hour or two, but unfortunately, he values the balance of his personal time. Evan Unger, this is awesome. I appreciate all the experience you've shared with us. I'm listening for the past 5 minutes, and I'm connecting that with the things I've done well and the things I haven't done well. And I couldn't poke one hole in what you just said about running meetings.
Most meetings shouldn't be allowed to happen. They really shouldn't. We meet to meet, and too many people show up because, everyone says FOMO. There's a fear of missing out. And so we have all these people at the meeting who could be doing something more useful, right? And that's what we're teaching people, the art of high stakes workshop type facilitated meetings, real decision making, right? We're deciding how we're going to roll a product out or how we're going to allocate scarce capital, major decisions. And there is an art to that. It is an art of leadership. And most people are never trained in this. And founders may not need to worry about this early. But as they start getting to the place where I got to start building the culture of the organization, that's the place this style of leadership is fundamental to inculcating a culture where the great ideas come to the surface.